So, are you ready to ditch the standard desk job for a life of real, unparalleled honor? Welcome to this explainer on the UPSC NDA and Naval Academy Examination 2 for 2026. If you've ever literally pictured yourself in uniform, whether that's leading troops on the ground, navigating massive warships, or flying fighter jets, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can kickstart this incredible journey to becoming a military officer. We are pulling straight from the official notification, so you're getting the most accurate, laser-focused roadmap possible. Here's what we're covering today: the 2026 opportunity, are you eligible, application logistics, the written exam, the SSB interview, and finally, your career trajectory. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the 2026 opportunity for the 158th NDA and 120th INA courses. 394. That is your ultimate target. There are exactly 394 provisional vacancies up for grabs in this cycle. Now, it's an incredibly competitive pool, so knowing exactly what you're fighting for is step one. The Army takes the absolute lion's share here with 208 slots, and that includes 10 dedicated for female candidates. Perfect if you want to lead ground forces into some seriously challenging terrains. Then the Navy has 42 slots, with 5 for women, for future officers commanding the high seas. Over in the Air Force, they're offering 120 positions across flying and ground duties, including 6 seats for women for anyone dreaming of aerial dominance. And lastly, the Naval Academy's cadet entry scheme has 24 vacancies, with 3 reserved for women. Basically, every single point you earn is going to matter if you want to lock down one of these highly coveted spots. And because the competition is so fierce, time is completely of the essence here. The official notification dropped on May 20th, 2026. Your application deadline, well, it's incredibly tight. You've got to hit submit by June 9th. And that all-important written exam is officially set for September 13th. You really don't have months to sit back and mull this over. The clock is already ticking. And trust me, the UPSC does not hand out extensions, period. Moving right along to Section 2, are you eligible? Let's do a quick UPSC criteria check. Now, before you start scrambling to gather your documents, let's make absolutely sure you aren't disqualified on a technicality. Academically, it's kind of like a fork in the road. If you're aiming for the Army wing of the NDA, a general 12th class pass from a state board or university is totally fine. But if you've got your sights set on the Navy, the Air Force, or the Naval Academy, they are much stricter. You absolutely must have passed your 12th class with physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Oh, and if you're currently in your 12th class right now, don't worry, you can still apply. You just need to be able to submit your passing certificate by June 10th of the following year. Beyond the books, the foundational rules of the Academy are, well, they're non-negotiable. First up, you've got to be completely unmarried. So yeah, no high school sweethearts tying the knot just yet. Age-wise, your date of birth must fall strictly between January 1st, 2008 and January 1st, 2011. And here is a massive commitment you really need to wrap your head around. You have to pledge to remain unmarried until your training is 100% complete. What happens if you break this rule while in training? You won't just get discharged. You will literally be handed a massive bill to refund the government for every single rupee spent on your training. Yikes. Okay, Section 3. Application logistics. Let's walk through this step by step. Getting your application perfectly squared away on the UPSC website is your first real test. It requires absolute precision. First, you'll need to generate your Universal Registration Number, or URN. That's a one-time registration on the portal. Next up, you fill out the common application form. Now pay super close attention to step 3. You have to capture a clear, live photograph during the application process. Don't just upload some old file from your camera roll. Finally, upload a picture of your signature done specifically in black ink, along with a valid photo ID. The UPSC systems are notoriously rigid. Like if your signature is in blue ink, actually scratch that. If it's anything but black, your journey might literally end before it even starts. And you'll definitely want to remember this critical piece of advice straight from the notification. Exam centers are given out on a first apply, first allot basis. In plain English? Except for a handful of cities, every single center has a hard cap on how many candidates it can take. If you drag your feet and wait until the final week of June, your local center might be totally full. You could end up having to travel hundreds of miles the night before the most important test of your life. Seriously, apply early. That brings us to Section 4, the written exam, happening on September 13th, 2026. Guys, this isn't just a standard pop quiz. It is a literal marathon. We're talking 5 hours of intense, brain-draining focus split across two 2.5-hour papers. First up is mathematics. That's code O1, and it carries 300 marks. Then comes the general ability test, or code O2, which carries a massive 600 marks. So that is 900 total points on the line in a single day. It's going to test your stamina just as much as your intellect. Now, if you think you can just rely on your math skills to coast through, think again. The general ability paper actually makes up 2/3 of your entire written score. A full 200 marks goes strictly to Part A, testing your English proficiency, stuff like grammar, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. The other 400 marks in Part B, that's general knowledge. But don't let that generic name fool you. This means deep diving into physics, chemistry, general science, history, geography, and current events. You really have to be a master of all trades to crush this section. Just a quick heads up on the format, this whole thing is objective type, which means filling out bubbles on an OMR sheet. And they do not mess around with the instructions. You must use a black ball pen. Not blue, not a pencil, black ball pen. You'll use it to encode your roll number, subject code, and test booklet series. Even a tiny encoding mistake here can tank your score. So that extreme attention to detail, it needs to kick in the exact second you sit at that desk and uncap your pen. Moving to Section 5, the SSB interview. Let's look at Stage 1 and Stage 2. So let's say you conquer the written test. Awesome! Now expect your call-up sometime between December 2026 and January 2027 for the SSB phase. The written exam basically just unlocks the door to this next level, which carries another 900 marks. You see what they did there? It's perfectly balanced. 900 marks for academics, 900 marks for your personality. The SSB is this incredibly holistic assessment to see if you have officer-like qualities and to gauge how trainable you are under extreme pressure. It is a totally grueling process, split into two distinct stages. Day 1, you walk in and immediately face Stage 1, the officer intelligence rating in the picture perception and description test. It's a ruthless filter, guys. Only a fraction of the people who take Stage 1 actually get to stay. If you manage to survive Day 1, you move on to the 4-day absolute gauntlet of Stage 2. This is where they really turn up the heat. We're talking deep psychological tests to see how you handle stress, outdoor physical group tasks to push your leadership and teamwork, an intense one-on-one interview with a senior officer, and finally, the decisive board conference. It is designed to test your absolute limits. Finally, Section 6, Career Trajectory and Promotional Avenues. So what is the ultimate payoff for surviving this intense multi-year crucible? Well, you aren't just applying for a typical job here. You are stepping onto an elite leadership ladder with crystal clear promotional avenues. Right upon commission, you start as a lieutenant in the Army, a sub-lieutenant in the Navy, or a flying officer in the Air Force. But from there, through timescale and selection, the sky is literally the limit. You have a structured, direct path to rise all the way up to general, admiral, or air chief marshal ranks. It really is a lifetime of guaranteed growth, staggering responsibility, and just deep, deep honor. Everything we've unpacked in this explainer, the strict eligibility rules, the super precise application, the 900-mark academic gauntlet, and that intense psychological pressure cooker of the SSB, it all points back to one final thought. The window to take action closes on June 9th. We've laid out the entire roadmap for you, but actually taking the wheel, that's entirely on you. Out of tens of thousands of applicants, only 394 are going to earn the right to wear that uniform. So, are you going to be one of them?